Hi everybody, welcome back to Praying Like Monks and Living Like Fools.
And this is Up Scripture with Beck and Sam.
All right, this final chapter, chapter 10. So this chapter is called Rebellious, Fidelity, and what a way to go out.
Yep.
Chapter 10, Rebellious, Fidelity, Unceasing Prayer. When I first read that title, I thought to myself, I can barely remember to pray before I go on the school run. Now I have to pray non-stop.
Sounds pretty hard, doesn't it? I do think this chapter does talk us through. It's actually not that.
No, that's not what it is at all.
The title opens with the scene of the woman caught in adultery, and literally dragged into shame. But the story isn't about her sin. It's about what Jesus' response to that. And that's where he roots this whole idea of unceasing prayer.
Can I just go back to that story?
Yeah.
Because obviously that story is really powerful. And Jesus' message was really powerful. He who is without sin can cast the first stone. Yeah. I mean, she must have been terrified before she started hearing the stones drop. But before he actually said that to everybody, he knelt down and wrote something with his finger in the sand. And the Bible never says what that is. That wrecks me. There's something inside me that just needs to know. And I know that that's the flesh. However, I can't brush past this story without going, I need to know what he wrote in the sand.
Yeah, when the day comes and Jesus comes back, maybe that's what you can ask him.
First question, what did you write in the sand?
Can we start with this, please, Lord? Thank you for my life, but...
Back to...
It's not about performance, is it?
No, it's not about performance. It's about fidelity. That quiet, determined return to God again and again. Even when you're tired, you're doubting, distracted, or you're just done. You're just done for the day. You've had enough.
That's what Tyler calls rebellious. Not giving up, not ghosting God, just being present, still turning towards him, even when it'd be easier to not do it when you're numb, when you're just done with life, really, I suppose.
Yeah. I love when Tyler said, we all get a woman caught in adultery, moment or two. We're not always the faithful ones. We're not always faithful to God as much as we want to be. Sometimes we're the ones that's crawling back to him in shame.
Jesus doesn't flinch. He didn't flinch for the adulterous woman. He kneeled down. He wrote something to her in the sand. But he does that to us also. He invites us not to hide in our sin, in our shame. No. But just to stay in love with him.
Yeah, Tyler calls the prayer a love story. Yeah. Not a productivity hack. True. Not a religious duty. A love story. And that changes everything.
It did for me. I read this story in a different light. I love how he puts it in it's boring sometimes. It's showing up even when the fire's gone out. It's a daily return, the Monday morning, the yes after that Sunday meltdown in church when everything went wrong. The kids didn't get the message in kids' church, they ended up fighting.
That's the rebellious part, isn't it? Because the world tells us to give up when things get hard.
Absolutely, yeah.
But Jesus says, abide in me. Stay, pray, love.
Okay, let's talk about daily prayer rhythms. That's what this is practical gold for me in this chapter. And this was I love practical advice, so I love that.
Yeah, and Tyler really breaks down how early Christians used to pray in the ancient world. Even Jesus himself prayed 3 times a day.
Yeah.
I feel like this concept, though, is a contentious concept because if you talk about praying 3 times a day, what's the first thing you think of? Call to prayer.
Yeah.
The Muslim call to prayer. And you even a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about Elijah with his face to the ground.
Yeah.
How often do you see Christians praying with the face to the ground?
Honestly, only in these conferences that I've been to, not on a Sunday morning.
No.
I've never seen. Sometimes even in altar calls, people don't come. Like sometimes there's an altar call.
No.
Do you know what I mean? But yeah, praying 3 times a day was very much a practice of early Christians.
Absolutely. It absolutely was. And this book has really reminded me to live like Jesus lives. We know it says in the Bible, and we're reminded all the time by our vicars, our pastors, that our purpose is to become more like him. Like us as Christians, that's what Christianity is. Become more like Jesus. He showed us the way. And yet, there are some practices that we find so abnormal in this Western world or this day and age. They're really abnormal.
Do you know what gets me about this concept? There's some rhythms in the Bible, fasting. Praying, and other faiths who came after us do it better than Christianity, and and I think that says more about us than it does them. It's not let's take away from them, because they're the ones who do it, and they really commit to the causes. They turn up to work with the prayer mat, or the Jewish people, they have the little scrolls on the door. They are so good at this rhythmic prayer.
That's it.
And we're just not.
We're not. Christians aren't good at setting a prayer structure, having structure, and yet Jesus and Jesus' followers all had structure.
But the key thing about Christianity is it's not legalistic. Ours is not legalistic. I know.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's not.
It's relational. Yeah,
that's it.
It's about returning our attention to God.
Yeah.
Throughout the day, whether that's in silence, whether that's just, you're taking a minute with the kids because they're driving you absolutely mad and you need to just breathe. It's doing your dishes after you've made homemade lasagna, because there's a lot of dishes, and there's a lot of pans.
Yeah.
I
think what I feel Tyler's trying to say is setting up that structure.
Yeah.
Within your prayer pattern. And then letting it flow like a rhythm, because it compares it to the jazz. And how jazz follows this smooth, rhythmic structure, and it leads to that intimacy and flow. So there's one verse the whole chapter sits on: pray without ceasing.
Tyler unpacks it not as an impossible burden, but a beautiful invitation not to pray all day with words, but to live all day with God.
Yeah. I mean, my favourite quote was, prayer is the refusal to ghost God. Do you know, like when you're like ghosting that first date, when you go on a date with somebody?
You do a red receipt, but then don't reply.
Yeah. Well, you don't even do a red receipt, you just ghost
them. I wouldn't know. I mean, I've not dated people since ever read receipts for a thing.
I was about, same. I think I was, 22.
And so our knowledge on dating people and ghosting people is quite limited.
Prayer is the refusal to ghost God.
Yes.
Because we do often, do you know what? Actually, we do often ghost God, don't we? It's like, I woke up late, so I couldn't do my morning prayer.
Honestly, sometimes I will walk past this massive book, which I actually keep round, like on the table.
You've got a good view around the house.
And I will
You have no excuse.
No, I will reach over my Bible to get the TV remote. No, it's not great.
Go on, what was your favourite quote?
I just loved, we are not faithful because we feel love. We are faithful to learn love. I just love that. Just flipped something in me. Yeah, I loved it.
He also talks about how prayer forms the architecture of your day.
Yes.
And it doesn't box you in, hold you up.
It should be your scaffolding, shouldn't it?
Yeah, and I feel like these are things. It's interesting because these concepts aren't new to Christians or mature Christians like ourselves. These are things that we've always known, even as a cradle Catholic or as somebody who grew up in the church as well. Mine was obviously Anglican as well. These structures we've always known. We've always had these structures, but applying them structures has been something different. And I feel like we almost assume like it doesn't scaffold our day, like it's birdness, but actually it's not.
Actually eating 3 times a day
Yeah, yeah.
So that's a structure that we live
is.
on, and that's why it's quite easy to pray. No, like Tyler talks about 3 times a day and kind of moves on to bedtime. But I'd say, as a family, one thing we're consistent at is praying before tea or dinner, depending where you're from.
Yeah.
And we take turns around the table, and I love how the kids come up with the most random things they're praying for. And it's one of the highlights of my day. Are we as convicted to pray at breakfast when someone's grabbing a brioche while I'm trying to mix porridge, while my eldest is trying to finish off his homework that he should have did last night? No, we're not. Yeah. But that's because the evening meal, if you like, has become a really firm foundation for our structure. The others haven't. But my children in school, because they attend a Catholic school, they pray. They pray when they go in, they pray for the dinner, and then they pray before they leave. And then I think, so schools can do it, but is this something we've adopted into this home? We don't really have that type of rhythm, and I loved in the chapter how Tyler made that accessible, and he come up with a couple of good suggestions, didn't he, which I love.
Yeah, he did. So when he talked about the morning prayer, he talked about the morning prayer being praying the Our Father prayer, starting with Our Father, inviting him into our lives in the start of our day, scaffolding him up, and start with that relational prayer. We talked about the Our Father in earlier chapters, so I won't go into that into great detail. But then the midday prayer touched on where we touched on in episode 8, where we were praying for the lost.
Yeah.
So we set us up for that. We've already spoke about our 5 names where we're praying for the lost, and he says about that midday prayer, saving that prayer for them, and then he talks about the evening prayer being around a prayer of gratitude. So I just wanted to.
It's a good bit in this, that we really enjoyed.
Yeah, one of the most favourite bits that I had as he was ending the chapter was the Dinu prayers. And a Dinu prayer is the idea that the smallest amount would have been enough, but you gave me more. And so he basically says, Dinu prayer sounds like, God, lunch today would have been enough, but you provided me with the resources to choose the type of food I wanted to eat and options to pick from. God, lunch of my choice would have been enough, but you've created a world of flavour and spice and culture to make food more than fuel, to offer it as artistic and delicious. God, a delicious lunch of my choice would have been enough, but you gave me a co-worker to share a conversation with over that food. Thank you, God, for overdoing it. And it hits a little different because it just takes that moment of, are you tearing up?
No, I
you
don't
look
cry.
like you are.
Don't cry.
It does.
It's lovely.
It reminds you that sometimes we just write a quick gratitude list, don't we? And that is great to write a gratitude list. And if all you've got in you is writing that gratitude list, then that is enough. But getting into the habit of genuinely thinking to yourself, Lord, you giving me my daily bread would have been enough, but you give me so much more.
I know.
I don't just have daily bread. I have a life that's filled with love and cherished moments and happiness and joy.
And great friends.
Yeah.
A great church.
Yeah.
We have and I think sort of bringing that back to praying for the lost, even if you see the smallest bit of hope for praying for that lost person in your midday prayers, that's enough.
It's enough.
That's enough.
I think as we wrap up this book, Tyler really challenges us to take on the lessons that we've learned as we've read through each chapter and applying them to our everyday life. So it's about doing the extraordinary as we live our ordinary lives.
Yeah.
Because we're not special. Me and you, we live ordinary lives. We don't live these big extravagant lives. But these tiny changes, they don't take long.
And if you scaffold your day around some of these practices in this book, your life will become fuller for it. If you don't, you know, take it that what you will. But I do love how he links it to the, like, you know, to the gratitude list. I actually love doing a gratitude list in the evening. Just, I have it on my iPad. 3 things you're grateful for, and there's like a journaling section, and that helps me get to sleep. I'd say the sort of journaling, that part of my day is probably still quite secular, if I'm honest. It's not really gratitude to God. It's like, these are 3 things that have gone well. So I feel like in this chapter, it's probably going to be more of the praying like monks way of gratitude rather than a secular way of gratitude. And he links it to the Jewish tradition of ending the day with a song of gratitude, the rhythm of a return. Prayer that ends with love. And, you know, I love this saying, it's like a return home every night, isn't it?
So Tyler talks about the 24/7 app. And what I would say is the 24/7 app has really helped me try and get into a rhythm of 3 times a day, because it offers you a morning, a midday and an evening prompt to prayer. But Tyler has come up with another app that works alongside the 24/7 prayer called Inner Room. So that's something that I'm going to try out over these next few weeks and see how that helps me scaffold my prayers to present to God. And even though it sounds like we're doing lots of structure at the end, I just want to pull back to some of the earlier themes of the book where it was praying them disappointments as well, because it invites the Lord into that intimacy relationship with us, and praying even if you've got nothing to say, because just showing up saying,
this is
me.
Me.
I'm here.
This is all I actually even saying sometimes I have nothing.
I've got nothing to give, Lord. That's enough.
Even if you draw it back to that chapter, no, it's chapter 8 actually. It's if you're offering up just yourself and you've got nothing else, what a sacrifice.
Yeah.
You are Elijah in the birthing position.
Yeah.
At that point, aren't you?
Yeah. So this has been a great book. I've really enjoyed this book club. There will be more. We haven't chosen our next book yet.
No.
I think our next series is going to focus on a Bible study of the Book of Mark.
It is, yeah. We're excited to get into that.
Yeah, he was quick and fast and straight to the point, and I like the tempo of the Book of Mark. And I'm excited to study it again. It's a living word, so I'm sure there's going to be something new I learn each time. I think it'll be great that it opens up with Mark 1, I think speaks about how Jesus goes off to meditate, but we'll cover that when we get to it.
See if I've done any better on that front.
Until then, keep praying like monks.
And not living like absolute fools.
No.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.